nuclear seems to be coming through. There's been a shift in sentiment towards nuclear. So you still see this as something that's going to benefit in the next, I'm assuming, decade.
Absolutely. I think the moving goalpost of what the incentive price is for uranium. I remember when I started this business, it was like $30. We'd be so happy if we had $30 uranium. We could build a mine and profit. Now it's more like $70, $80 was the most recent number, but costs keep going up. So there are people who argue that at mid 70s uranium that we're at the incentive level and prices don't need to go up anymore. And I forget the name of the guy, the YouTube guy who was so famous for saying, "Oh, there's 1 billion pounds of uranium out there. There's all the uranium." Well, there's 1 billion pounds out there, but it's not all economic. And getting it out of the ground takes a lot of effort and time and money. And basically, all the uranium producers that are ramping supply back up again, they all are behind schedule, over budget, or have moved the goalposts. And for the up and comers, the juniors, are the ones either building a new mine or taking one that's been on mothballs and bringing it back into production. All of those companies are behind schedule or revising their output figures, that sort of thing. So, it was reasonable to think that uranium, after that big run up in 23 to triple digits, over $100 a pound, it was reasonable to think that that was too much and maybe a correction would happen, which I did call, and I did get virtual rotten tomatoes thrown at me for not being a cheerleader. But I was right in 24, and it corrected all the way down to the low 60s, and now it's showing pretty good signs of carving out a bottom. And I'm not a chartist, I'm not a technical analyst, but if I add my fundamental perspective to looking at the chart, I like it when the two align, and the chart looks really good. So the chart looks good, the fundamentals look good, the demand, I don't need to rehash what you said. You put several examples. For every one you said, there's 10 more out there. It seems like every day there's some new headline that's very bullish for uranium demand, while the supply is failing to pick up. So I think the incentive price is higher, and even if we were there, the pounds are not coming to market fast enough. And so I think we're going to see spot overshoot. I think it will go above the incentive price. I would not be surprised to see it go back to triple digits. Whether it stays there or not, we'll see. But on the way there, there's a lot of money to be made in the uranium stocks. Now, the one caveat here, well, actually, there's two. The uranium bulls hate it when I say this, but the one main caveat is always this is nuclear energy. And if there was a nuclear accident, even another Fukushima, where it was really the tsunami that killed people, not the reactors, that would definitely throw ice water on the uranium market. Maybe not permanently, as we've seen. It picked itself up after Fukushima, but maybe a Chernobyl scale event, that would be really difficult to recover from. So I think this is important. If you're going to put a lot of money into this, you need to understand that this is a speculation that can almost literally melt down on you. And you have to be willing to accept that. I think it's a very long tail risk. I'm long. I have a lot of uranium stocks. I don't lose sleep over this, but I know that it's there and I accept it. And nobody should go into the space without that. So that was the one caveat is this is things may not work out. The other thing is that the demand side, where you started with your question, Anthony, it's so obvious that even though spot uranium corrected quite a bit, the stocks did not correct that much. And they're not really, bargain basement buys right now, at least not the better ones. If you've got a uranium stock that just, is dragging along the floor, it hasn't moved up this year at all, the market is probably telling you there's something wrong with that company, because the better ones have all moved up with uranium. And so what I'm saying is I'm very, very bullish on this. I'm even more bullish on it near term than I am on copper. So that makes it a high priority for me to look for a great uranium pick. But I'm not the only one that sees this. So finding bargains is hard. And I'm a very simple old wolf, and I just like to buy low and sell high. I don't want to buy high and hope to heck to sell even higher. The greater fool speculative strategy is just not for me. So I'm not saying anybody's a fool for buying right now. I'm just saying be careful and look for a compelling value proposition. And if you don't find one, wait for the next fluctuation. There always is something like that DeepSeek thing. it was totally irrelevant, and it put uranium stocks on sale. If you can't find a good bargain, markets fluctuate. That's something that's a reasonable thing to wait for.